Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
When I first heard VOP, I thought they were talking about me because I'm a voice-over personality. But no, this is Voice of the People TV, and you are riveted forever because this is the place to be.
Yo guys, your boy Chella. Shout out to VOP TV. I love you guys.
Salut, salut tout le monde. Suspect 95. Là, on est sur VOP TV. On passe un bon temps. J'espère que vous kiffez. On est au Afrima. On est ensemble. VOP TV.
Don't see me like a fool because I don't do giddy giddy giddy. VOP, you don't know Stoneware from Ghana representing live and living color. Yeah, Beam Nation President. Outside with it. Bless up.
Hello, this is Milo from Ivory Coast. Keep watch Voice of the People TV. Regardez la voix du peuple, la télévision de la voix du peuple. Que Dieu vous bénisse. À très bientôt. Love you so much.
Hi guys, what's up? This is Gaze Baba. I am watching VOP TV. Usually you be told to not touch the dial, but I tell you to touch the dial and increase the volume. Like, keep it locked. It's Afro Gospel. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shego Aronzo. You're watching VOP. Don't change the dial.
My Joe, fine girl. My Joe, fine babe. Yes, don't touch the dial. This is me, Dr. Adiwala Iba. Keep watching VOP TV.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
2564 Atlantic Tower. What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
Well, hello and welcome to the Midday News, Voice of the People Television. I am David Edwin. Before beginning the news, we would urge you to kindly visit our website. It's www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news stories. First, the headlines. Lawmakers calls for fair APC e-registration in Zamfara State, cites glitches and rivalries. Atiku Abubakar advises supporters Obi's camp against insults. Peter Obi condemns handling of Kajuru church abduction, calls for divisive action. Court issues bench warrant against suspects linked to Turji Bello. Court sacks Abure, declares Nanadi Usman Labour Party chair. EU allocates 557 million euros humanitarian aid to Africa, focuses on Nigeria's northwest. On the foreign scene, Trump calls out on use of force, insists on taking Greenland. In business, federal government plans to raise 900 billion naira via bond auction, doubling last year's target. In the world of sports, Manchester City fans to get tickets refund after Bodo Glimt's defeat. In entertainment, Hilda Bassi sets third Guinness record. We'll go on a very short break right now. When we return, we'll go straight to the news itself. Please stay with us.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing.
And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Let me is Tao Familoni, and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
Arara, my name is Made Kuti, and you're watching VOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
Are you ready for the extraordinary?
Welcome back. It is still the media news right here in Voice of the People television. Now to the major stories. The Supreme Court has dismissed the trial of Hamzat al-Mustafa, the former chief security officer to the late military ruler, General Sani Abacha, over the murder of Kudirat Abiola. Kudirat Abiola was the wife of the late politician and businessman MKO Abiola, the presumed winner of the annulled June 12, 1993 presidential election. She was killed in Lagos during the nationwide crisis following the annulment while campaigning to reverse the military's decision. Al-Mustafa's trial, brought by the Lagos state government, was put to rest today by a 5-man Supreme Court panel led by Justice Uwani Abba Aji. At the hearing, Lagos State did not appear and no legal processes had been filed since 2014 when the court ordered the trial to be reopened. Representing Al-Mustafa, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Paul Daudu, told the court that Lagos had failed to act on the 2014 order, not even filing a notice of appeal, showing a lack of seriousness in prosecuting the case. Daudu urged the court to dismiss the case entirely. Justice Abba Aji asked if Lagos had been served with hearing notice, which was confirmed. In a unanimous ruling, the Supreme Court agreed that Lagos had abandoned the case. Justice Abba Aji said 9 years was long enough for the state to act, and the trial was consequently dismissed. In another development, the Southern Kaduna Christian Leaders Association has condemned the recent abduction of 177 persons in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State, describing the incidents as alarming and unacceptable. The association, in a statement signed by its chairman, Emmanuel Kure, expressed deep anguish over the attack, noting that it was the first time in the history of Southern Kaduna that worshippers from 3 different Christian denominations were abducted on the same day during church services. Kure said the Kajuru incidents had further compounded the insecurity challenges confronting Southern Kaduna, adding that several abductions in communities across Kauru, Kachia, and other parts of the region remained unresolved. He lamented that many families in the affected areas were still living in pain and uncertainty over the fate of their loved ones, stressing that the recurring attacks had continued to instill fear among residents, while calling on the Kaduna State government, security agencies, and other relevant authorities to intensify efforts to secure the immediate and unconditional release of the abducted worshippers. The association urged decisive measures to end the cycle of kidnapping in the region. As part of a spiritual response to the crisis, the association announced a 2-day fasting and prayer program for the safe return of all abducted persons across southern Kaduna. Moving on, the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, has assured Nigerians that all amendments to the Electoral Act will be completed in time for the 2027 general elections. The assurance was conveyed through his special advisor on constitutional matters, Monday Ubani, in response to call by the Advocacy Foundation for the Senate to reconvene and prioritize the Electoral Bill 2025. Ubani said the Senate will take up the bill immediately after resuming from recess on January the 27th, aiming to pass it and secure presidential assent by the first week of February. He stressed the timeline is critical as the Independent National Electoral Commission must ensure a notice of election at least 1 year before polling day. The assurance comes after the Advocacy Foundation warned that failure to pass the amendment could force INEC to conduct the 2027 elections under the current 2022 Electoral Act. Moving on, the Senate and the House of Representatives committees on the Northwest Development Commission, in collaboration with the Commission, will hold a one-day Northwest Stakeholders Development Summit on January the 31st in Kaduna State. This is contained in a statement jointly signed by the Senate Committee Chairman on NWDC, Senator Babangida Hussaini, and his House of Representatives counterpart, Sulaiman Abubakar, respectively, in Abuja. According to the statement, the summit is designed to bring together key stakeholders from across the 7 Northwest states to reflect on the zone's development challenges and align priorities for sustainable growth. The statement said that the summit would feature plenary sessions, technical decisions and discussions, and sector-focused engagement to strengthen collaboration, improve policy coherence, and support effective implementation of the Commission's mandate across the zone. It further noted that outcomes from the summit would help guide NWDC's programs and interventions and foster stronger partnership among stakeholders committed to the development of the zone. Still in the news, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, says it's carried out 87 relief interventions for 17,000 displaced persons across the Northwest in 2025. NEMA's Northwest Zonal Director, Sani Lokoja, told reporters in Kaduna that the displaced were victims of banditry, flooding, rainstorm, windstorm, fires, and communal clashes. Lokoja said Kaduna had the highest number of intervention with 34, followed by Sokoto State with 33 and Kano with 20. Kebbi recorded 16, Katsina 14, Jigawa 7, and Zamfara 6. The agency says these interventions provided much needed support to affected communities throughout the year. Away from that report, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has begun enforcing the ban on alcohol sold in sachet and PET bottles below 200 millimeters. NAFDAC Director General Mojisola Adeyeye said the move follows the Senate directive and comes after consultations with the federal government. She explained the ban aims to protect public health, especially children and young adults, noting that small, cheap containers made alcohol easily accessible and increase the risk of abuse. Enforcement was originally planned for December 2025, but was temporarily suspended pending government consultation, which have now been concluded. And in the southwestern parts of Nigeria, the Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun, has clarified a circulating report suggesting a confrontation between him and the Council of Afrobajes regarding the Awujale selection. According to the official sources, these claims are completely false and misleading. This was contained in a statement signed by the Special Advisor to the Governor of Information and Strategy, Kaide Akimade. Akimade said this statement that the Governor remains committed to upholding due process, respecting the autonomy of traditional institutions, and ensuring a fair process in the selection of a new Awujale for Ijebu. He added that Governor Dapo Abiodun's administration will continue to prioritize dialogue, harmony, and the preservation of cultural values. And in the North Central, Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdulrazak has set up a 3-member panel to investigate the recent student protests at Kwara State Polytechnic. The Commissioner for Tertiary Education, Saidatu Modibo Kawu, confirmed this in a statement issued in Ilorin, the state's capital. The protest had earlier prompted the governor to order the temporary closure of the Polytechnic to safeguard lives and properties. Modibo Kawu said the panel is chaired by the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Senior Suleiman, and has 2 weeks to submit its report.
She explained that the committee will examine both the immediate and remote causes of the protest is handling and engage relevant stakeholders. The commissioner added that the governor has directed the rector, Abdul Jimo, to step aside while the most senior deputy rector will serve in an acting capacity. Still on education-related matters, the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Polytechnics has rejected the revised scheme of service for polytechnics prepared by the National Board of Technical Education. Union President Philip Ogushikwe said the rejection, detailed in a minority report submitted to the Education Minister, stems from sharp disparities introduced between teaching and non-teaching staff at the entry-level position. The union also criticized remarks by the chairman of the Committee of Heads of Polytechnics, who reportedly said rectors and some non-teaching staff could not retire on the same grade level, calling the statement demeaning, elitist, and against public service rules. You're still watching the Midday News right here on Voice of the People Television. We'll go straight to the analysis segment of the news. And joining us now to make sense of these stories and more in the studio with us is Mr. Dele Fanimo. Mr. Fanimo is a seasoned reporter right here in Nigeria and also a public and political affairs analyst and commentator. Mr. Fanimo, a very good afternoon to you and thank you for joining the Midday News.
Good afternoon and thanks for having me.
Thank you so very much. Well, also joining us virtually is Mr. Sunday Oladapo. Mr. Sunday is a politician and also public and political affairs analyst. But I do understand right now that Mr. Sunday is yet to join the conversation. But let's start off from the studios here with Mr. Dele Fanimo. Interestingly, Mr. Fanimo, the Polytechnic workers have rejected the new, I'm talking about the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Polytechnic, have rejected the revised schemes of service for Polytechnic prepared by the National Board of Technical Education. Well, these again, according to the union's president, Philip Ogushikwe, is saying that the scheme does not entirely indicate what the association stands for. Plus, it's, according to him, demeaning and delisting the union. What's your position with these kind of
you see, the hierarchy of academic staff in Polytechnic ends with a chief lecturer.
Okay.
Whereas in the universities, it's the professor. And the new scheme of things states that as professor, your retirement age is 70.
Right.
Whereas for chief lecturers in the Polytechnic, for Federal Polytechnic lecturers, I think it's 65.
Okay.
Then the emolument structure also differ. And as well as the products, the placement of their products, HND and bachelor, the placement is also, while the graduate follows the administrative cadre, the HND graduate follows executive cadre. So the product of HND Polytechnic, the terminal point is chief executive, from principal to chief, yes. I think it's on level 14.
Okay.
Which is also equivalent to the position of a director in the admin line. So HND graduates from the scheme of things cannot be a permanent secretary in the civil service.
Okay.
So what that says technically is that the Polytechnic lecturers and by extension, the non-academic staff represented in the university as NASU.
Yes.
then represented by, I've forgotten the acronym of that of the Polytechnic. They are also not on the same level. I think for university is 65 now.
So this disparity clearly is the reason why this scheme would not work according to the union.
Yes.
That is clearly
because it's not holistic.
Okay.
It's not holistic. But on the flip side, when you want to, I'm a product of the two. On the flip side, if you want to calculate the number of years spent to attain HND status, it's 5 years. 2 years for OND, 1 year for industrial experience, and then 2 years for HND. Whereas a BSc holder in some of those courses in the universities, you only do 4 years straight. So the argument is, if I have to spend 5 years in the Polytechnic, particularly when the certificate I'm parading at O level is same thing or even better than that of university graduates at the starting point, why should I now be subservient to the BSc holder? But if you want to also argue it, the advent of HND started as a result of the need for middle-level manpower.
Right.
Skilled middle-level manpower.
Yes.
So the way it is structured is the HND holder uses his hands, whereas the BSc holder uses his intellect, his brain. He designs for the HND holder to implement. That was the original arrangement. But over the years, just find out that the same courses they offer in the universities are what they are now offering. They have even abandoned those core areas of the polytechnics. So now you see polytechnics offering HND, offering business administration, offering all manner of courses that you also find, accountancy that you also find in the universities.
Right.
So now the era of separating these two is almost thinning out. And so the belief now is, if I have to go and study mass communication in Polytechnic, for instance, and you had gone to university to study mass communication, what makes you better than me on the job? So why should you now be my boss on the job? So, and it's more prevalent in the civil service, in the public sector. In the private sector, particularly this, our trade, you may have a school cert, and if you are very good, nobody counts it against you.
Sure.
But in the public sector, even if you are the dullest of candidates, as long as you have the BSc, you will be promoted well above HND.
All right, then. Before I
that
jump
is the cross of the matter.
Before I jump off this situation.
Why the Polytechnic academic and non-academic are saying that they are rejecting certain things is the fact that the focus is on making them be on the same pedestal.
Almost at par.
At par. But what about the other factors?
Now, that's where exactly I'm going. So if, for instance, government should want to reconsider its position and making it at par, what then happens to technical schools across the nation? Which, again, you mentioned the other sector. How can that now not even create even much more lacunas? Because, hey, the technical schools will be saying, we are more practical than these people who, again, you say just use their brains.
See, I think there's a difference between a technical school and a polytechnic.
Of course, there is.
Now, the question is, if you notice in the last 2 years, they practically woo young people to come to technical schools by making it tuition free and some other incentives. Because, this is a country where ego plays a critical role in your societal endeavors. how would they see me as a plumber with trade tests?
All right then.
How would a BSc holder see me? Whereas you are sometimes sought after than that university graduate
who is still looking for a job with the white collar companies. Well, let's move from that conversation to another one. And I want to stay with the Southwest, where Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun has cleared out reports suggesting a major confrontation between himself and the Council of Afobajes. I mean, I saw this report a couple of days ago and I said, there's never a smoke without a fire. But in the reality, the governor has come out to clearly say right now that there is nothing like a major confrontation or any fire between myself and the Afobajes, even though the selection of Yawujale has been suspended so far. But then, what do we make of this? I know you have a bit of information on this particular story. So what do we make of this, Mr. Fadimo?
You see, at the cross of this crisis is the resistance of the kingmakers, Afobajes, in Ijebuland, that they are not going to succumb to a government officials imposing a candidate on them that has not passed through them. Now, you see, it's easy for the Awujale in council to do this because majority of these people are well-to-do. They are not just ordinary people. When you have the likes of Kuku, you know, and the rest of them. So what they are saying is, there was a meeting where the governor said that there is a particular candidate from the top that had been endorsed by government. And the Afobajes said, this is a traditional institution and would have to go through the process. Even when others had submitted their claims, counter-claims petition that these Afobajes are looking to, then you just summon them and say, this is the candidate from above. They said, no, they are not going to have that. So it became a stalemate. They said they were not going to allow it to happen. And the government is saying, this is our choice.
Now,
and so the only way, if it will not precipitate trouble, is for the government to halt the process and then go back and find a way around it so that there will be a consensus candidate at the end of the day that has the imprimatur of the Awujale Council.
I like to stay with this line of the consensus of the Awujales and all of that. The question now would be, how much of a power does the governor have in the installing of the next Awujale of Ijebuland?
You see, on paper, governor is also relying on the powers of the local government chairman.
Okay, within that particular
because after Sultan and Oni of Ife, the late Oni of Ife, Obasijo Ade, and the late Sultan, I think, was it Dasuki then, when they had brushes with Babangida, when they traveled without his consent, and he now enacted a decree that has not been vacated up to today, that traditional rulers are now under local government chairman. That was why they were able to remove the Emir of Kano. You know that Ganduje did not remove him. He only used
the local government
chairman with the stamp of authority of the State House of Assembly to remove him. So technically, Awujale is subject to the government in a way. But because of the strength of character and the power of members of the kingmakers in council, they are contesting this. And I see them going to court to challenge some of these things.
Oh, wow.
And the end is not in sight.
Okay, we definitely will keep our eyes on that conversation and, of course, give you the stories as they progress. Let's move to another important conversation. The Supreme Court has declared and, of course, dismissed Major Hamza Al-Mustafa's trial in the Kudirat Abiola case, murder case. Mr. Fanimo, this is a situation that has been ongoing since, I think, 2014, if I'm not wrong. But looking at the fact that Supreme Court clearly has said, look, the Lagos State government...
I think he got to Supreme Court in 2014. Al-Mustafa's case started even before the advent of this republic.
I'm even talking... I mean, it's just what it is. Mm-hmm. So, looking at this particular dismissing of the case by the Supreme Court, what does this portend for the family of the Abiolas right now? Because again, the Lagos State government seems not to be pushing this case, and that is the major reason why the court has.
As a matter of fact, the trial judge in Lagos State then has been nominated to the Supreme Court.
Right,
Justice Oyewole.
Yes.
Now, you see, the fact of the case appears to have been destroyed along the line. Where is Sergeant Rogers today? Where is Major... I've forgotten this man's name. Is it Kachala? I can't remember now. And some other principal suspects that gave evidence at that time at the Oputa panel.
Yeah.
So they are no longer around. We don't even know their whereabouts. So what evidence are you going to use to nail Mustafa? And that's what the court relied on. And Al-Mustafa would have been roped in on vicarious liability or circumstantial evidence. But where are the principal? Rogers said he was a major player in the shooting of Kudirat. Where is Sergeant Rogers today? And the likes. So, for me, it's just like closing this chapter once and for all.
Rather than elongating
it and still open wounds. So, I think Al-Mustafa can now go and enjoy the rest of his life.
But then again, he's also trying to get into politics, something that a lot of persons have asked questions. How much credibility does he have? You would also say he's a Nigerian, so he has the freedom of being voted.
He's a Nigerian. He has not been convicted. He has not been declared bankrupt. He has not been tested to be of unsound mind.
So all of those preludes can allow him become a candidate. All right, then let's move to this conversation in Kaduna State, where the Southern Kaduna Christian Leaders Association have clearly condemned the abduction of over 177 persons in Kajuru local government.
The government said it's 163.
Now, here's the thing. We have... wait, let me even ask. How much of data problem do we have, and how much harm is this going to consistently keep giving the country? Because when a group of Christians say it is 177, government that have said nothing of such happened by the local government chairman is coming again to say we have 163.
You see, it's not all about data. It's concealment of information.
To what end, Mr. Fanimo?
You see, somebody was saying, I think the spokesperson of the police also was saying that they had to conceal that information so that they don't raise panic among the populace. But these are the people that they know, those who have been abducted. How can somebody take 163? Let's concede without agreeing that it's 163.
Right.
Even if you carry 163 chickens from one village to the other, at least somebody will notice that movement. Not to talk of human beings.
I mean, just one United States citizen was picked up in Nigeria and
head was let loose until that man was rescued. So what are we talking about? You see, we tend to encourage, we tend to embolden these maladjusted individuals who call themselves terrorists by making them look invincible, by making them look almighty, all powerful. When we begin to go back and forth on all of this. The question I keep asking myself is, to move 163 people from one point to the other, even if you have 163 cows that listens to just one person, sometimes they stray.
And to think that they were not just from one particular church.
3 churches. So, does it mean, and within the same community?
Yes.
Does it mean that when they were carrying out the first attack, there was no information to the other churches to flee? You see, it shows that it is either they went to these churches simultaneously, captured them, and then marched them into the forest. But how far can these people accommodate? What is the level of intelligence around this place? Forever, we know that most of the time, the places where they capture people and kidnap people are far flung from the city center. And it's like a sitting duck. Why don't we place some level of surveillance around some of these far-flung communities to forestall this kind of incidents?
Mr. Fanimo, let's just oppose this while we let you go in the end. Kaduna State is about letting out 70 alleged bandits that were captured and, of course, reintegrating them into the society again. And just yesterday, the Emir of Kano, I'm talking about Sanusi II, also told the government of Kano State that, look, sign this death warrant so that this will deter all of these criminal elements that go about killing people and maiming people all across the society. Just opposing these two situations now with what we're experiencing here. I mean, the Southern Kaduna Christian Association of Nigeria did say that it's not just in Kajuru. There's one that has happened across Kauru and Kachia. With all of this, the commander-in-chief has changed his service chiefs, and he did say Nigerians would not tolerate excuses. But as we speak, Nigerians are still being picked and named and killed by these bandits. How do we justify?
You see, as to the refusal of state chief executives to sign death warrants, I don't know why it has been so. As of today, those awaiting execution that are all over the prisons, there are over 4,000.
This final correction is over 6,000.
Maybe I don't have the latest statistics. Now 6,000. And these are terminal cases. They have gone up to Supreme Court and the Supreme Court have upheld the judgment. So are you going to wait until the prisons now burst from its seams and these people are back in the society to unleash terror? You recall that one particular guy who was convicted of murder, condemned to death, but released. You know his first port of call? He went straight to the family of those who give him the evidence against him and killed them. Do we want all this to happen?
Big question there. Because of our time, Mr. Fanimo, really, we have to draw anchor on the analysis segment of the midday news. I want to say a big thank you to Mr. Dele Fanimo, a seasoned reporter right here in Nigeria, and also a public and political affairs analyst and commentator. Thank you once again, Mr. Fanimo, for being here.
Always my pleasure.
We'll take a very short break right now. When we return, more stories on the midday news. We are next. Please just stay with us. Glad to have you back. It is still the media news right here on Voice of the People Television. Now to more stories. APC chieftain Joe Igbokwe has expressed concerns over the ongoing demolition of properties belonging to Ndibo in Lagos State. In a post on in his official Facebook page, Igbokwe said he had received multiple complaints from Igbo residents about their homes being torn down by state officials. He described the Igbo community as a vital part of Lagos growth, noting that after more than 40 years in the state, he is aware of their significant investment. Igbokwe has urged Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to intervene and find an amicable solution to the issue. Moving on, across many Nigerian homes and schools, the use of mother tongue is gradually declining among children as English and Nigerian Pidgin increasingly dominate daily communication, raising broader conversation about language, identity, and cultural continuity in the country with hundreds of indigenous languages. From there on, let's move straight to some business stories. The Nigerian interbank settlement system says digital payment fraud losses, fell sharply to 25.85 billion naira in 2025, a 51% drop from the previous year. The figures were disclosed by NIBSS Managing Director and CEO Premier Okwil at the 2026 Nigeria Electronic Fraud Forum Technical Kickoff in Lagos. Oiwos noted that while fraud cases have steadily declined over the past 5 years, the value of losses remains a major concern. Data shows reported incidents dropped from nearly 124,000 in 2021 to about 67,500 in 2025, with only 4% decline in the past year. Lagos counted for more than 63% of fraud activities, followed by Abuja, while Ogun, Rivers, and Delta states each recorded just over 1%. E-commerce and internet banking remains the most affected channels, with social engineering, especially insider abuse, identified as a leading fraud method. From that business story, we move straight to talking sports. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has imposed heavy sanctions on Algeria following chaotic scenes after their quarter-final loss to Nigeria at the African Cup of Nations in Morocco. Nigeria won the match 2-0 to book a semi-final place, but incidents after the final whistle led to punishment for players, officials, and supporters. Goalkeeper Lucas Zidane, son of French legend Zinedine Zidane, has been suspended for 2 matches. Defender Rafik Beghagli received a 4-match ban with 2 games suspended. The bans will be served during the 2027 AFCON qualifiers, meaning both players remain eligible for the summer's World Cup. The Algeria Football Federation has also fined $100,000 for team misconduct and misappropriated behavior by players, officials, and fans. In response, the Federation has confirmed it will appeal the sanction, saying it will defend the interests of Algerian football through official channels. Still talking sports, Nottingham Forest have added Olaina in their UEFA Europa League squad ahead of their final 2 league phase matches. The Nigerian international could make his first appearance in the competition today when Forest faces Portuguese side SC Braga. The fullback has been sidelined since September with a hamstring injury, picked up on international duty, but returned to action earlier this month. And in entertainment, the mother of Anu, the 12-year-old girl at the center of the paternity disputes involving Afrobeat star Davido, has accused her delicate family of intimidation, manipulation, and abuse of power. In a statement, she denied claims that additional DNA tests were carried out in 2020, contradicting recent comments by the family. She also alleged that her sister, Titilayo Lambijo, had been in contact with Adedeji Adeleke since the COVID-19 pandemic, a development she described as shocking, and accused the family of using their influence and wealth to monitor her. The statement comes less than 24 hours after Adedeji Adeleke, Davido's father, spoke publicly on the controversy, saying the family coordinated multiple DNA tests to determine whether Anoluakpo is biologically related to the singer. He also detailed how documents, photographs, and correspondence allegedly linking Davido to the child's mother led the family to pursue what he described as extensive testing to resolve the issue. And with that entertainment story, we've come to the end of Midday News right here on Voice of the People Television. Do also subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we're at Voice of the People TV, and on all other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. Top of the hour, 1 p.m. Nigerian time, will be the program Spotlight, with Precious Agumanu. I am David Edwin. Do have a good afternoon.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day,